read yours and make sense of it, and you don't have weird stuff going on. And which is why I always like to line up my braces here. It just makes it a whole lot easier for debugging purposes. So B is our next double. Then we're going to do our if statement. So if A is equal to B, and you do two equal signs, then we will do, and we don't close it because this, right, that I'm going to type right now is part of that, system.out.println your two numbers are equal. Hopefully they didn't need our program to figure that out. So then we're doing else if, because we're going to have more than one, so we can do else if, and then the final one will be an else because there's only one more solution. A can either be, and we're not going to get into imaginary numbers or anything, A can be bigger than B, A can be smaller than B, or A can be equal to B. So there's three possibilities. So you only need to have two where you actually define what could be going on, and the third one is just else, so it's the third possibility. So if it doesn't meet one of these two, then it'll meet the third one. So let's just say A is larger than B, and you don't really need those spaces, I just like putting them, semicolon. Then we're going to say, so else if A is larger than B, I'm going to go system.out.println your first number you entered is larger than your second number. Well, let's just say your first number is larger than your second number by, and then a space so it's not scrunched together. And then we concatenate, do concatenation, which is the plus sign. Concatenation is a fancy word, and that basically means it takes this string, and then I'm sure you already know this from my other, I think I just said this in another video, plus whatever you put here, but it's not adding them, it's putting them together. So it's like, you know, if you had apples here and 4 here, it wouldn't say 4 apples, or wouldn't say 4 times apples, or wouldn't say APP4LES or anything like that. It doesn't mix them together at all. It would instead put them side by side like that. So anyway, so then we'll put plus, and then since this one is A is larger than B, we'll do A minus B so we get a positive answer. We could do B minus A, but then they give us a negative, and then we got to get the absolute value, and this is just easier. So else, so we don't need to put A is smaller than B because there's only 3 possibilities, and we already covered 2 of them. I hope that makes sense. System.out.println your first number is smaller than your second number by, end quotes. Then we will concatenate B minus A because this time B is larger, so we'll subtract A from it so we get a nice solid smooth clean non-negative number. And we're using doubles, like I said earlier, just to make it easier for a person to enter really large numbers. I'm going to run it. I'm sure I'm going to have a bunch of errors with it. Okay. Okay, I knew that. Told you I keep forgetting those. Okay, so it says our output here. I'll move this into the front of the middle of the screen, like right there maybe, so you can see everything. This program compares 2 numbers and tells you what the difference between the numbers is. Please enter the first number you want to compare. So I'm going to say, I'm an end user, I'm going to say, oh, I want to compare 468 and, gosh, 513. Your first number is smaller than your second number by 45.0. See that point 0? Since it's a double, it can handle decimals. So watch this. Enter the first number you want to compare, 37.5. Second, 39.89. See, because it's a decimal. It does not give fractions, though. It gives decimals. So it does some nice math for us. I think it does some rounding at some point. So let's say 5 and 9, a bunch of 9s. It'll give us an exponential form. So it's 1.0 times 10 to the 25th. That's what that E means there. So it's kind of like, and then obviously it did some rounding there because it wouldn't be a perfect number like that. It rounded. So it's good for smaller numbers or numbers that are close in range. Like say I did 10 9s and 9 9s and an 8. See, it's good for numbers that are either fairly close together or that are small, because you don't get rounding error, or at least very much rounding error, depending on, the kind of gray areas there where it's rounding in the, say, billionths place, billionths, not billions, the billionths place, and it wouldn't really matter for most practical purposes, but, or if you have really huge numbers, then the rounding it does might throw your whole calculation off by a couple million, and that's kind of important. Because say, well, you saw that example earlier, 5 to 999, whatever, wouldn't perfectly come out as 1 followed by a number of zeros. It just wouldn't. It wouldn't be like that. It would be a bunch of 9s and then a 4. So obviously they did some rounding. It'd be, I think, 24 9s and a 4 for the one I was doing, because it had E25. So anyway, that is my Java tutorial for now. Like I said, later today I will be doing another Java tutorial. That one it'll be a pretty short video. It'll just be going, unless I find something else cool on that website, which I'm sure I will, but maybe not today. But it'll be basically over the different kind of data types of Java. And that'll be integers, longs, doubles, floats, all that good stuff. And I will be giving you a couple code examples. So like I'll use this code, and I'll change this to an integer, double, long, and show you the difference in the numbers that you could enter. Or maybe I'll just give you ranges of numbers that can be entered. But I'll give you some example code probably for that, and some scenarios in which you might want to use those kind of numbers, like you'd want to use an integer for stuff like ages, number of years, maybe even, say, number of days since the War of 1812 or something. You'd want to use probably an integer there. So it'll just be going over stuff like that. So I keep saying So anyway, if you need any kind of help with this code, I will of course be uploading this code, copying this exact code here into I found it's RTF, that's what it is. It's a rich text format, the one I'm saving it as. It'll be an RTF because then it has the nice colors and all that. It'll be an RTF document that I just do in TextEdit real quick. I'll upload that to Mediafire, post the link in the description. Or actually, as you're watching this, it is posted in the description. And that's about it. I hope you watched in HD, because then you can see the text a lot better, and it makes more sense. Even though if you have really slow internet, I guess that wouldn't be the best idea. Also, I don't want to sound like I'm doing some kind of marketing thing here, but Eclipse is completely free. It is a really good program. It's available for Mac, Linux, and PC. So if you don't already have a good compiler slash code writer slash whatever, give that one a try and see if you like it. Another nice thing about that is if you're watching my tutorials, it's the same interface, so it might be a little easier for you to follow. So anyway, if you're just beginning Java, and I'll also post the link to the first video, so if you just clicked onto this from some other video and you're like, I don't want the third one, I want to start from the beginning, I'll have the link to the first one in the description. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. I will help you with any kind of code problems you have related to this code. I'm, again, not a Java expert or anything. I'm still learning Java myself, so I'll help you to the best of my abilities there. And thank you. Have a nice day. Hello and welcome to another Java tutorial. This is the US Mac Tutorials. This is my fourth Java tutorial in my Java tutorial series that I'm doing. Please watch this in HD full screen if you want to be able to read the text better. So what I'm going to show you today is how to do methods. So a method is, well, there's no better way to explain it than for me to show you. So we'll have our public static void main string args. And by the way, I did find out where this came from. It's a throwback to old computer code and computer programming, where you wouldn't have different classes and stuff. You just boot up your computer and go straight to a terminal and you start typing your code in there. And so that'd be inside, I guess, from what I understand of this, inside the main method that the computer would see. So basically a method is whatever is inside these braces for the method, I guess header is what you would call it. So if we have system.out.println hello world, then that method just has the code of hello world in it. So you can have more than one method, and that's the cool thing. So I can do a static void, let's say greeting,
And here, this is very important. I'm going to talk about this in just a minute. First, I'm going to tell you that your public static void main is kind of where you want to call everything to. It's kind of like the center. And so if you have, say you have a method. What's really cool about methods is you can keep calling on them and calling on them without having to rewrite or copy and paste the code. So by doing that, you can do something like, say I would call on a method to add two numbers, and instead of rewriting the code to add the two numbers every time, I would simply pass it two numbers, either integers or doubles or floats or longs or whatever, and I'd pass it those two numbers. I'm going to show you that in just a minute. But what is, and that's what these parentheses can do for you, in which case you wouldn't have static void, because void means it's not going to return anything. You'd want something like static. Say if it was going to return an integer, static int. If it was going to return a double, static double. Stuff like that. And so I'm going to just show you how these work. So if I have another method, and in that method, and these are really cool because they're reusable, you can call on them as many times as you want, and you don't have to rewrite the code that you wrote into the method. So for an application like this that I'm building right now that I'm showing you, it is not an efficient way to build this application, and I know that. I know it'd be much easier because I only use it once. Like each method I only use once. It'd be easier to just put in the main and not have to define separate methods and then call on them and then pass them numbers. I'm just doing this for an example to show you how to do this, but in some more complex programs, like say it would do the same calculation 100 times, it'd be really nice to call on a method to do it for you each time. So without further ado, I'm just going to show you how this works. So if I put system.out.println, welcome to the Grease Burger. That's my restaurant name. And of course end that properly. And so now up here, if I call on this method here, so greeting, it'll do whatever greeting says to do. It's like, say for example you had a classroom and there was one kid named Jeffrey, and so whenever you wanted the chalkboard erase, you called Jeffrey, and his sole purpose in life, as my teacher explained it, is to say clean the chalkboard or whatever, or to greet someone coming into the room, or to open the door. And so when you call on it, by doing this one line of code to call on it, it does everything contained within the method, assuming that your syntax is correct, and, well, at this level, for what I'm showing you, assuming it'll do everything that in between these braces in that code. So let me just show you how this works right now. Welcome to the Grease Burger. Now, what if I wanted to write one method to take the order of burgers, one to take the order of fries, one to take the order of, say, soda. You see where I'm going with this? So I would write separate ones. So let me just do that right now. So I'm going to write, let's see. I'm going to write a method to announce the prices. So static void prices. System.out.println. Let's see. Lard burger. And then I'm going to put a space and then a $sign. You'll see why. So when it concatenates using this concatenation symbol, that's a cool word. Say I do $2.47 for the price. It'll have that $sign right there. See, watch. So if I do prices, so watch this. So I'm calling on the greeting and prices method. So it's going to print both methods here. And see, then it has the $sign right here because we have the $sign after the space, and then we, right after that, concatenate the next number. We could also do something like, say, double, or I guess it'd be, yeah, double burger price, like that, and then pass it burger price. So we would go double burger price equals $2.47, and then we would say prices, and then we'd pass it burger price, and then here we would have say double A, and then we would have double A, or I guess just A actually, listed here. So let's see if that works. I'm just trying this out for the first. Okay, there's a problem. It's not applicable for the arguments. Okay, so actually, my bad. So see, then actually, because I put prices above greeting, I shouldn't have done that. But it'll print out, see, I'm defining the burger price, then I'm passing it that price, then I'm printing out, so I'm, by passing, and let me just fix this real quick. By passing a number to a method, it's like allowing that method to use that number. It's like saying, say you had integer 5 and integer 6 here, and you had a method to add the two integers, you'd pass it both integers separated with commas, which I'll show you later, and then it would do the work based on assuming the kind of the preset and order of all the integers or doubles or whatever entered, which I will show you later, and it'll make more sense then. So I'm just going to do this over and over and over again. So static void. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do all the stuff right in here and pass it multiple numbers. So say instead of lard burger, let's do bucket of fries. And then plus B. And we're going to pass it B right now. So we're going to do a double of fries price, expensive fries. And then we're going to double B, just like that. See that comma there? That's separating them, so it says I'm going to allow, basically it's here saying I'm going to receive two numbers. And the first number is going to be A, the second number is going to be B. Not that the ones you pass it have to be called A and B, but the first number I receive is going to be renamed to A essentially, but it's not going to change the name up here or anything. And the second I'm going to set B equal to, so say the double A equals 247 and double B equals 419 like it will, then all of a sudden in this method, A equals 247 and B equals 419. So when I reuse them, because it's in that order, you'll see in just a minute when I go fries price like that. See, now I'm passing a burger price and fries price, and so burger price is the first one, so that coincides with double A. Fries price is the second one, so that coincides with double B. And so let's try that right now. There we go. And see it printed both out. And now the nice thing about doing this is instead of typing 247 here and 419 here, if the company wanted to change the prices of items, they only have to change them in one place. Say they say, oh, we're not making enough, 429. Ta-da, I changed it once, and it changed right there. And then if I had calculations, it would change there too, because I'm going to pass that integer to the method that does the calculations. So without further ado, I'm just going to write the last one, system.out.println. Let's see, I guess just cup of, let's see, 2 gallons of Sprite. There we go. And we're just going to write our $sign here, and then do plus C. And then for C, we're going to pass it C real quick, so we're going to add another double to what this method will kind of accept, and then add another double here called, oh, say, Sprite price equals 319. 309. And so, and by the way, something important in Java right now is a capital O looks a lot like a 0, but a 0 has a line through it. See that? So if it looks like a 0 but it doesn't have a line through it, it's a capital O. Anyway, so now I'm going to pass it C. So actually here it's going to be Sprite price, but it's going to be converted into C essentially down here. That's a simplified way to think about it here. And see, it prints them all out just fine. So now we're going to make a new method to take the amount of burgers. So we're going to do static int prices. Or, not prices, what am I saying? Static int burger numbers. Burger number.